Topic is Introduction to Partnership and Partnership Final Account. In the first part of introduction, we had seen the introduction of partnership, meaning, definition, as well as we had seen different parts of final account, that is trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. Now we are going to see how the net profit is distributed among the partners. So distribution of net profit among the partners we are going to see. Net profit is always distributed to partners as per the ratio. And if ratio is not given in the problem, then the profit or loss will be distributed equally among both the partners. Now let us take an example where the net profit of the firm is 9,000 and the profit and loss ratio is given 1:2. So we will see how the profit is distributed among the partners, partner 1 and partner 2, in the ratio 1:2. So for partner 1, the net profit is 9,000. The first partner share is 1 and we have to divide it by 3. So denominator will come 3. 3 has come, we have to add both the share together, that is 1:2 is given. So we have to add 1 plus 2. So denominator will come 3. So for first partner it will come 9,000 multiplied by 1, that is share of first partner, divide by 3. And for partner 2, again net profit amount will come. Net profit is 9,000 multiplied by second partner share is 2, divide by 3. 3 is the total of both the partners share, that is 1 plus 2. So denominator will always come same. Now for first partner, the profit will come to 3,000 and for partner 2, the profit will come to 6,000. Now this 3,000 profit for first partner and 6,000 profit for the second partner, the total of this both profit should always be 9,000. That is the profit which we are distributing among both the partners. The total of the distribution should come the net profit amount. So since the ratio is 1:2, the first partner is going to receive less profit, that is 3,000, and second partner share of profit is 2, so he will get more profit, that is 6,000. Now let us take a second example where we will keep the net profit same, that is 9,000. Now ratio we will change. Ratio, let us take 1:3. So for partner 1, it will come net profit, that is 9,000 multiplied by first partner share is 1, divide by denominator will come, that is we have to add both the partner share, that is 1 plus 3. So denominator will come 4 for the first partner. Now partner 2, again the net profit amount will come, that is 9,000 multiplied by second partner share is 3. So it will come 3 divide by, that is denominator will come 4. Denominator will always come same. So if we will divide this 9,000 in 1:3, for the first partner the profit will come 2250, and for the second partner the profit amount will come to 6750. In this example also the ratio was 1:3. So for the first partner he will get less profit and the second partner share is 3, so he will get more profit. Now let us see the third example where we will keep the net profit same, that is net profit we will keep 9000, and ratio, assume that ratio is given 3:2. So again we have to find out how much profit both the partners are going to receive if the ratio is given 3:2. Now in this particular example the ratio is 3:2, so denominator will come 5, that is 3 plus 2 5. So for partner 1 the net profit is 9000 multiplied by first partner share is 3, so it will come 3 divided by 5. For partner second net profit is 9000, so 9000 second partner share is 2, so it will come 2 divided by denominator will come 5. So if we'll calculate the amount of profit for the first partner, the profit will come to 5400, and for the second partner the profit amount will come to 3600. Now since the ratio was given 3:2, the first partner is going to get more net profit amount and second partner will get less profit amount. Now there may be few problems in which the ratio will not be given. So in the absence of ratio, what we have to do, the net profit we have to divide to both the partners equally, assuming that the net profit is 9000. If 9000 we are dividing to both the partners in equal ratio, that means we have to divide the net profit into half. So the net profit will come to 4500 for both the partners. So in the absence of the ratio, the net profit will be divided equally among both the partners. Now there will be a few problems where the profit and loss ratio will be shared in their capital ratio. Now what do you mean by this? If suppose profit we have to distribute as per the capital ratio, if such information is given above the trial balance or below the trial balance, then we have to take the capital amount as the base and we have to distribute the profit to both the partners in capital ratio. Now let us take one example. Now suppose the capital of both the partners are given, partner 1 capital is given 1,20,000 and second partner capital is given 60,000. Now we have to distribute the profit as per the capital ratio. So what we have to do, we have to minimize this capital amount. First of all, we have to cancel all the common zeros. So from 1,20,000 and 60,000, if we will cancel the common zeros, that is 4 common zeros, the ratio will come to 12:6. Now if we can further minimize this ratio, we have to minimize that. So 12:6, if we want to minimize, then it will come to 2:1. So the ratio will be 2:1, and in this 2:1 we have to distribute the net profit. So if In the problem, it is given that profit and loss will be distributed in their capital ratio. Then we have to see the amount of capital, and according to the amount of capital, we have to minimize the amount, we have to calculate the ratio. Now let us take one more example. Now suppose if capital amount of the partners are given, first partner capital is given 90,000 and second partner capital amount is given 30,000. Now what we have to do, we have to minimize this amount, that is 90,000 and 30,000. We have to cancel the common zeros. So there are 4 common zeros. If we'll cancel that, the ratio will come to 9:3. And if we can further minimize this ratio, we have to minimize. So the ratio will come to 3:1. And in 3:1, we have to divide this net profit. So net profit is always distributed as per the ratio. If ratio is not given, then you have to read the transaction properly, whether profit and loss we have to distribute as per the capital ratio. If both are not given, if numeric ratio is not given, or if it is not given that capital should be distributed as per the capital ratio, then we have to distribute the profit equally among both the partners. Now let us see few adjustments which are very common and will come in maximum problems. We are not going to see all the adjustments, we will see few adjustments. Now first of all, what are adjustments? Now adjustments are the additional information which are generally given below the trial balance. It is not compulsory that adjustments are always given below the trial balance. There was one board problem in which adjustments were given above the trial balance. But in maximum problem, adjustments are always given below the trial balance. So adjustments are the additional information which are given below the trial balance. Now for each and every adjustment, we have to pass minimum 2 effects. That is, for one adjustment, we have to pass the entry on 2 sides. All the accounts which are given in the trial balance, we are posting only either one effect we are posting, either in trading or in profit and loss or in balance sheet. But all the adjustment will have minimum 2 effects. That is, we have to pass the effect on 2 sides. Now let us see the adjustment. The first adjustment which is maximum given in all the problem, that is closing stock. Now what is closing stock? Closing stock are the unsold goods at the end of the financial year. Now we have to pass 2 effects of closing stock. The first effect will come in trading account on the credit side, and second effect of closing stock will come on the asset side, that is balance sheet asset side. Now let us see the second adjustment, which is also common in maximum problem, that is outstanding expenses. Now outstanding expenses are those expenses which are payable. Payable means which are not paid, which are unpaid, are called as outstanding expenses. Now since the firm has to pay the expenses, expenses are going to increase. So the first effect of outstanding expenses is we have to add to the concerned expense. This expense may be either given in trading account or it may be given in profit and loss account. The first effect we have to add because our expenses are going to increase. And the second effect of outstanding expense, since these expenses are payable, it is a liability for the business. So second effect will come on balance sheet liability side. So we have to pass two effects of outstanding expenses. The first effect we have to add either in trading account debit side or profit and loss account debit side, and the second effect will come in balance sheet liability side. The third adjustment is prepaid expenses. As the name suggests, prepaid expenses are those expenses which are paid in advance. Now, since these expenses are not the expenses of current year, the first effect we have to do is we have to deduct this prepaid expense either from trading account or profit and loss account debit side. So prepaid expenses we have to deduct because those are not the expenses of current year. And the second effect will come in balance sheet on the asset side. So first adjustment we had seen closing stock. The first effect will come in trading account credit side. The second effect will come balance sheet asset side. Second adjustment we had seen was outstanding expenses. Outstanding expenses are payable, so our expenses will increase. We have to add to concerned expense, and second effect will come in balance sheet liability side. The third adjustment we had seen is prepaid expenses. Prepaid expenses are paid in advance, so it doesn't belong to the current year. We have to deduct from the concerned expense either in trading account or profit and loss account debit side, and the second effect will come in balance sheet asset side. The next adjustment we have to see is income received in advance. Income received in advance means pre-received income. Now since it is pre-received income, income doesn't belong to the current year. We have to deduct from the concerned income. Now this income will be given in profit and loss account credit side. So first effect less from the concerned income in profit and loss account credit side, and this is pre-received. So the second effect will come in balance sheet liability side. Now the next adjustment is income receivable. Income receivable are also called as accrued income, or it is also called as outstanding income. Means income which are receivable. Now since this income are receivable, our income is going to increase. We have to add in income, that is in profit and loss account credit side we have to add. And since this income is receivable, it is an assets, so second effect will come in balance sheet on the asset side. So whenever it is given outstanding expenses, we have to add to expenses, second effect will come on the liability side. And if it is given income receivable, that is outstanding income, this also we have to add, but we have to add in profit and loss account credit side because income is given on the credit side. And the second effect will come balance sheet asset side. Now the next adjustment is further bad debts and RDD on debtors. Now the bad debts and RDD which are given in the adjustment, these bad debt and RDD are new bad debts and new RDD. Now why we call it as new bad debts and new RDD? Because there may be bad debts and RDD given in the trial balance. Those bad debts and RDD which are given in the trial balance are called as old bad debts and old RDD. And the bad debts and RDD which is given in the adjustment are new bad debts and new RDD. Bad debts are amount which are not recoverable from debtors, and RDD is reserve for doubtful debts, that is amount may be recovered or may not be recovered. Both this adjustment we have to solve on debtors. Bad debts is 100% loss, we have to deduct. RDD is also amount may be recovered or may not be recovered, that also we have to deduct from debtors. We are deducting from debtors because debtor is a person from whom money is receivable. So both this new bad debts and new RDD which is given in the adjustment, we have to deduct from debtors. So debtors amount which is given in the trial balance, it will come in the inner column. First we have to deduct new bad debts which is given in the adjustment, and after deducting new bad debts we have to calculate new RDD on the remaining debtors. That is, on remaining amount we have to calculate RDD. So the first effect of bad debts and RDD, we have to deduct from sundry debtors in balance sheet asset side, and the second effect of old new bad debts and new RDD will come in profit and loss account on the debit side. While we are writing in profit and loss account debit side, we have to write down all the 4 accounts. That is, we have to add 2 bad debts and new RDD. So old bad debts plus new bad debts plus new RDD we have to add, and from this we have to deduct old RDD. Once again I am telling you, bad debts and RDD which are given in the trial balance are old bad debts and old RDD, and the bad debts and RDD which are given in the adjustment are new. So total there are 2 bad debts and 2 RDD. So out of these 4 accounts we have to add 3, that is 2 bad debts old and new plus new RDD we have to add, and from this we have to deduct RDD, and then the amount will come in the outer column. Now let us see the next adjustment, that is depreciation. Now depreciation means reduction or decrease in the value of fixed assets. Now since fixed assets value is going to decrease, it is a loss for the business. Now since assets value is going to decrease, the first effect of depreciation, we have to deduct from the assets in balance sheet asset side, because assets value is going to reduce, and whenever assets value is going to reduce, it is a loss for the business. So second effect will come in profit and loss account on the debit side. So for depreciation we have to pass 2 effects, less from assets, that is in balance sheet we have to reduce, and second effect will come in profit and loss account on the debit side. Now the next adjustment is interest on capital. Now interest on capital is an income for the partners, but it is an expense for the business. Now since it is an income for the partners, we have to add in partners capital account or partners current account in balance sheet on the liability side. Since it is an income of partner, the partner capital is going to increase, so we have to add in partners capital account or partners current account, whichever is given on the liability side. So first we have to add in partners capital or partners current account in balance sheet liability side, and since it is an expense of the business, the second effect will come in profit and loss account on the debit side. Now let us see few adjustments which are given on the goods. Adjustments such as goods distributed as free samples. Now, since goods are distributed as free samples, it is an advertisement, and while distributing the goods goes out. So the first effect of goods distributed as free samples will come in trading account on the credit side, and free samples means advertisement. So advertisement we have to record in profit and loss account on the debit side. Now, while writing in profit and loss account debit side, if advertisement is given in the trial balance, we have to add to the advertisement. The next adjustment on goods is goods withdrawn by partner for personal use. Again, goods are withdrawn by partners, so goods will go out. The first effect will come in trading account on the credit side, and since goods are withdrawn for personal use means drawings, so the second effect will come in balance sheet on the liability side. We have to deduct drawings from either partner's capital or partner's current account in liability side. So we have to deduct the drawings. So we have to pass two effects. The first will come in trading account on the credit side, and the second effect will come in balance sheet liability side. We have to deduct the drawings either from partner's capital or partner's current account. Now we have to see the next adjustment, that is unrecorded purchase. The adjustment will be given like this, that is goods purchased but not recorded in the books of account. So goods are purchased but not recorded in the books of account. So not recorded means it is unrecorded purchase. So now we have to record this purchase, and since we are recording this purchase, our purchase is going to increase. So the first effect will come, we have to add to purchase in trading account on the debit side, and this unrecorded purchase we have to assume that the goods are purchased on credit basis. Now since goods are purchased on credit basis, the amount is payable, and amount is payable always to the creditors. So our creditors is also going to increase. So the second effect will come in balance sheet liability side. We have to add to creditors. So for unrecorded purchase, we have to pass two effects, that is add to purchase in trading account debit side, and the second effect will come in balance sheet liability side. We have to add to creditors. In the similar manner, the next adjustment is unrecorded sales, that is goods sold but not recorded in books of account. So goods are sold but it is not recorded, so it is unrecorded sales. Now again we had sold the goods, so our sales will increase. So the first effect we have to add to sales in trading account on the credit side, and here also we have to assume that the goods are sold on credit basis, so the amount is receivable, and amount is always receivable from debtors. So the second effect will come in balance sheet asset side. We have to add to debtors. So unrecorded purchase, we have to add to purchase and add to creditors. Unrecorded sales, we have to add to sales and add to debtors. Now let us see the next adjustment, that is bills receivable dishonored. Now bills receivable means we are going to receive the amount on the bill, and that particular bill is dishonored means cancelled. That means we are not going to receive the amount. Now since we are not going to receive the amount, so the first effect we have to pass, that is we have to deduct the amount of bill from bills receivable. So first effect will come in balance sheet asset side, deduct from bills receivable. We are deducting from bills receivable because the bill is cancelled, it is dishonored. Now we are not going to receive the amount, and this particular amount was receivable from debtors. Now since it is cancelled, now still we have to receive this amount from debtors, so our debtors will increase. So the second effect of this will also come in balance sheet asset side. We have to add to debtors. So bills receivable dishonored, both the effect will come in balance sheet on the asset side. The first effect will come, we have to deduct from bills receivable, that is on asset side, and the second effect we have to add to sundry debtors, that is also on asset side. The next adjustment we will see is bills payable dishonored. So bills payable was that amount which we were supposed to pay. Now that bill is dishonored. Now same, we have to first effect will come in balance sheet liability side. We have to deduct the amount from bills payable, and the second effect of this will also come in balance sheet liability side. We have to add to sundry creditors. So if it is given bills receivable is dishonored, we have to pass two effects, that is less from bills receivable and add to debtors. And if bills payable is dishonored, we have to deduct from bills payable and we have to add to creditors, and both the effect will come on the liability side. Now there may be few adjustments which will be given in the trial balance. The adjustment which are given in the trial balance are called as hidden adjustment, or they are called as silent adjustment. Adjustments are basically given below the trial balance, but there may be few adjustments which will be given in the trial balance, and those adjustments are called as hidden adjustment. Now how to identify the hidden adjustment? Now in the trial balance, if along with the account, if months are given, percentage is given, or year is given, then that will be called as an hidden adjustment. For example, along with the salary, if it in the bracket it is given for 10 months, that means the salary is only paid for 10 months and 2 months salary is outstanding. So this was example of if months are given in the bracket. Second example is, for example, advertisement is given and in bracket it is given for 4 years. That means advertisement is paid for 4 years. Final account is prepared for 1 accounting year. That means 3 years advertisement is paid in advance. So this is an example where in bracket it is given for 4 years. And percentage example is, if along with investment or along with bank loan 10% is given and date is given that when the loan was taken. So on this investment or on bank loan we will have to calculate the interest. So it is very easy to identify hidden adjustment. Whenever along with the account in the trial balance, if month is given, year is given, or percentage is given, that will be an hidden adjustment, and for the hidden adjustment we have to pass two effects. Now in the next part, those were all the adjustments, and also in this part we had seen how to distribute the net profit among both the partners, that is either in the ratio or as per the capital ratio, or if it is not given we have to distribute equally among both the partners. So our parts of account is over. Adjustments are also, we had seen few adjustments, and how to distribute the net profit also we had seen. Now in the next part we will solve the problems, that is practical problems of final account.